watch this space. The other thing to say is that if there is any issues with the sound or anything online, then do let us know. If you can't hear us in the church, then something's really gone wrong. But give us a wave. Let me know you're still there. You haven't frozen. Hopefully the heating will do its job. Okay, so we'll do a couple of hellos and welcomes then. So I can see Jim down at the front was here first thing, getting the heating on. Not so much the coals these days, but you managed to fire up the boiler and getting going. And I saw June a little while ago. Mary's just come in, and T and Cherie, hiya, and June in the back, Phil there, and Charlie Stubbs, who did us a lovely Zen Den and meditation this morning, Phil Shaw, Shirley and Barbara, Stephen Kelly at the back, and of course my mum and dad, baby Oscar. Good morning to you all in the church. We've got Shirley Stewart joins us on YouTube, says good morning to everybody. Hope you're enjoying the snow. Unless it started snowing in Wimbledon, we're right at the moment. Victoria Stumbo says hello to everybody. Hello, Victoria. Welcome to you. Of course, good morning to you, Richard, producer. And if you are, Owen Williams joins us online. Lovely to see you online, Owen. Look forward to seeing you in the new year. Missed you. Great that we can still reach people that can't get to it. Izzy Ryan says good morning to everybody. Lovely to be here this morning, joining us online. I think it's fantastic that we can still share what we're doing online. It's brilliant. Paul joins us from Michigan. I'm here for the first time. Thanks for letting me join you. Well, a special welcome to you, Paul, from Michigan. Okay, George Wood. Good morning to you, George. Lots of love and light to you, mate. He says, enjoy the special service. Look forward to seeing you too, George. And Milna. Good morning even to Fiona. Hello, Fiona, joining us on Facebook. Jessica Wynn says, good morning to everybody. If you are joining us on Facebook, folks, sometimes the gremlins and algorithms in Facebook don't always mean that your comments get back to the production team. So do persevere with us. YouTube, we tend to get them after about 10-second delay. Jessica Wynn says, good morning to everybody. Hiya, Jessica. Wendy Mears says, hello, your voice is nice to the ears. Well, thank you very much, Wendy. I remember I've got dyslexia, it's a small screen. I thought you said your ears look like an ass's ears, but no, it's nice that you like to see it. Christine and Dave Schutz, hello from Cyprus. Hello to the Shuttle family. Lovely that you've joined us this evening. James joining us from Texas. James Fornelli, a Christian spiritualist medium over in Texas. Nice to have you. I think it's very early in the morning for you at the moment. Yeah, 5:07 a.m. That's good dedication. It was hard enough to get out of bed this morning at 8 o'clock to see the frost. I imagine a bit warmer in Texas at the moment. Ivy May Caswell joins us as well. Good morning to everybody. Hiya, Ivy May. The other thing to say, folks, particularly for those online, but I know lots of you in the church do have online profiles. Leslie Moulton, good morning to you, Reverend Leslie. Is that there is an imposter online claiming to be Spiritual Psychics TV, befriending people on Facebook and asking to be a friend, and then asking for your card details to verify who you are and looking to scam you out of a few quid. So huge apologies to anyone. That's Spiritual Psychics TV exists as a channel. You can like the page. It does not interact as an individual. So always be very cautious of that. We are aware that some of the hosts have been subjects of scammed and cloned accounts as well. So yeah, always like good spiritualists get the message. Always verify your communicator. Check who they are, and certainly please don't give them your card details. Sarah Warman from a damp and chilly Portland. Hello. Oh, Sarah Weston. As I say, Sarah Warman's usually based in Chichester, sort of way. No, chilly Portland from Sarah Weston joining us on YouTube. Great to have a couple of friends across the pond. Christine Davis, good evening to you as well. Do a couple more hellos. Suzanne Ellis, hello Ash and everyone. Lovely to have you, Suzanne. Mum Saz, I think has just joined us as well. Good morning to you. Welcome to the church. Mel Law, good morning to you as well. Julie Caswell, good morning. Mum and daughter online watching us today. And Julie, thank you for this beautiful flower arrangement behind me that you've done at the church. A real wonderful thing. Lizzie says, good morning to Jackie, Ray and Oscar. See how vocal Oscar's going to be in the service today. Is he going off to sleep now? I bored him as soon as I started talking. Okay, Joe Howell, good morning from London. Okay, I think that's enough hellos and welcomes. Good morning to you all. It is wonderful that you've all ventured out in the cold, and those of you joining us online for our special service, our Founders Weekend. I'm now going to invite Ivan Lee to come and give us the opening prayer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashley. Morning, everyone. Everyone. Morning, everyone online. Okay, I'd like to bow your heads. Divine Spirit, dear Lord, we thank you this morning. We'd like to ask for a blessing on each and every one of us and the households represented here. We ask you allow us to link in with loved ones from heaven. They may come forward with messages of love, comfort and upliftment, so we know that life is eternal. And moving forward, that we know ourselves better so we can understand others and all live on this earth in peace and harmony, sending out love to friends seen and unseen. Amen. Amen.
There'll be regular checks to see everyone's still with us. We don't want any hypothermic conditions in Wimbledon today. It's an engaging service. Folks, we're going to move on to our healing moments. So for those of you online that do want us to send some absolute healing to your friends and family, then simply put their name in your chat bar or hold them close to you. If I don't read it out, don't worry. The healing will find its way. It's a wonderful, universal and powerful thing. In the church, I know I've got a list of names that people have given me. But again, if you've not had the opportunity to add a name to the healing moments list, then just to think about that name and a positive affirmation. We know that love and light and probably some laughter and heat will find their way today. So on my list in the church, we have Barbara, Kelly and Stephen, Jackie, Oscar, Jack, Cheryl, Laura, Bella, Maureen, Marie, Eddie, Martin, Jim, Michelle, Phil and Linda. I've not seen any other names come up online, but we're just going to take a moment now. Yep. And Ivan, yeah, Ivan's who's faced up with a man cold today. Give us his best. I think Charlie wasn't 100% this morning either as well. So Joy's asking for healing. Yeah, Joy, healing your way. Cherie, some healing for you as well. And folks, just take that moment now. Think about anyone that is in and suffering, not feeling themselves, be that physically or mentally. We wish them well. We wish them a full and speedy recovery from any sufferings. And we'll just take a brief moment to send out that love, that light, and that healing. So mote it be. Thank you, friends. I'd now invite you all to join us, including those of you online, in saying the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So might it be. Okay, we're now going to put the collection plate round the church. Any spare change that you can give towards the upkeeping of the church and the charities we support will be very much appreciated. If you're online, folks, you can also donate. Head over to paypal.me/LAD-PROMS. LAD stands for Life After Death, PROMS, short for promotion. So paypal.me/LAD-PROMS. You can also donate online. If you go to wimbledonspiritualistchurch.co.uk, you'll find our website, and on Facebook and Instagram at Wimbledon Spirit. Trish asking for healing for a brother fighting cancer for the 5th time. Trish, absolutely sending you some love light for your brother as well, and for everyone else in need. So yeah, head over to wimbledonspiritualistchurch.co.uk, online or at Wimbledon Spirits. You can donate there. There's a PayPal link for you to send money over PayPal. For those of you that want to send us a check, you can do that. We're based in Wimbledon. Postcode is SW19 3TG. That's Sierra Whiskey 19 3 Tango Golf. Number 136 Hartfield Road. We'll do a little bit about history, but actually this property is 134 to 136 Hartfield Road. That's the actual full address. But there's only one Wimbledon Spiritualist Church, and certainly only one in Wimbledon. Suzanne asked for her grandchildren, Amy and Ellis, as well, for some healing. Yeah, absolutely, Suzanne. And anyone's name that we've not mentioned, know that healing is also coming your way. Very shortly, I will be doing a bit of an address, and I'll be talking a little bit about some of the history of the church and this beautiful stained glass behind us. So bear with me one moment. And so we will get on and do some mediumship. So I mentioned that spiritualism in Wimbledon started in 1913. So, you know, coming up to a sort of 109 years of and our founder, Mr. Richard Arthur Bush. And if you can just imagine what it was like sort of living in that time. And Mr. Bush was, you know, a very well-educated man, brought up with sort of Christianity. Spiritualism itself, you know, started to really become quite popular from the knockings, the rappings, and the tappings of the sort of Fox sisters. And that Victorian element had experimented with parlour-style seances and different things. And Mr. Bush, Richard, started to use the Ouija board himself, and he ran a number of different experiments, including writing several books, blindfolded, channeling messages of the Ouija board. Now, for those of you who used a board, imagine how long that would have taken to spell out all the sentences. And good job he was well educated. If me and my dad had been doing it without dyslexia, we wouldn't have written anything worth writing. But you imagine when he was doing that, and he was being inspired the whole time to continue with this mission to share his knowledge of life after death, to share truths of spiritualism. He managed to get a room above a stables in Wimbledon, not too far from here. And then eventually, using his own money, he purchased land in Hartfield Road, and he brought the two properties. With hindsight, we wish he'd also brought the land that the Irish Club is on now, give us a bit of car parking in Wimbledon. But he brought the two properties, and he gave us this opportunity. And he started off with his services. He dedicated a lot of the philosophy, understanding that Jesus was a leader and that Jesus had some good philosophy. And he started to write a few of his own books and services. And I want to just read the introduction, the preface in his book, because I think there's some really interesting things here. And if you think about, you know, over 100 years ago in Wimbledon. Okay, so this is from Mr. Richard Arthur Bush. The spiritualist movement was not founded by man. He did not discover it. He did not seek for it. He did not desire its phenomena, and there was no ready acceptance of its philosophy. It was thrust upon the world by unseen agencies who, however, in course of time made themselves very real to them, and they were led to investigate. This was indeed a craving by many, largely inarticulate, for something definite and something substantial, wherewith to combat the materialistic theories of the 19th century. To settle once for all the dispute whether the universe was founded upon some primordial undirected force and whether man survived death without any cessation of his conscious personality. Upon this momentous questions depended the belief and disbelief in God as a creator, upholder, and director, and in a spirit world of rational human beings. The spiritualist movement came as the answer, definite, final. Its beginnings were necessarily on the lines of the physical and physical phenomena, and they are still the groundwork of the movements, because without them and the possibility of their continuous repetition, the teachings that have come and are coming from the spirit world would be considered to be more theorizing, as an intellectual philosophy not founded upon reality. There were good reasons, which need not be discussed now, why the unseen agencies in the early days concentrated upon phenomena. The early converts and pioneers did not clearly foresee the spiritual and religious developments of the movement. The time has come when the inherent religious side of the invasion of spirit people in our mundane life is to be more and more emphasized. Psychic faculty is in itself not spirituality, and the two must not be confused. The exercise of psychic endowment is not a religion, even when associated with prayer and singing of hymns. Like as a nitrogen, it can be made to feed man's physical body and to bless him, and can be used to destroy it utterly and to be a curse to him. So psychic powers must be used to degrade man, lull him to spiritual slumber, or raise him to greater spiritual heights. There is and ever has been a universal urge in man not only to know more about the world in which he lives, but to worship the unseen forces and beings which he feels play such an important part in his life, and when he believes influence his destiny. The expression of that instinct has taken various and curious forms, but they've all provided some degree of comfort and satisfaction. We need not discuss these here. Today, there is a growing discontent that the world over, which presents forms of statements of religious truth. This book of services is an attempt to express in a simple form, in religious service or rites, the best there is in the movement known as modern spiritualism, in its application to certain times and events in a man's life on earth. The practice and value of prayer is acknowledged by all spiritualists. Few can really find satisfaction in worshipping an unlimited space of ever, a non-sentient mass or self-existent uncreated force, an ocean of fluidic mind unmanifested. Prayer or worship of such an idea, if practiced, would be unreal and without conviction. Quite naturally, we personify and unify these concepts, and we are not far from the truth. We are driven to believe in one primordial being, the creator, sustainer, and director, an all-person with great and mighty beings personate under him, associated with him and fulfilling his purposes, until you all come down by infinite steps to ourselves, you and me, expressing in diverse manners the all in all. Our experience in this life proves that man needs a strong, honourable and disinterested, self-sacrificing leader with power and authority to whom he can give his loyal and safe allegiance. So it is in the spirit world which governs this, and thus we are taken back to acknowledge a God who rules the world and to seek guidance and to help from his appointed ministers amongst the hierarchies of highest heaven. Christendom has accepted Jesus Christ as a leader, the vision of God. Other communities have other spiritual lights. Let us respect them all. The quarrel is not amongst us, the leaders, but amongst their insufficiently illuminated adherents. We ourselves would follow Jesus, enroll ourselves in his band and accept him as a Lord. But in regards to those churches who are not prepared to do so, let them take the services as groundwork for their own point of view. The spiritualist movement functions on a congregational principle, that every society or church is independent and all managing community. It grew up like that without any direction. The churches are jealous of any outside interference in their internal affairs. It is believed that where two or three are gathered together with one accord with noble and honest aspiration, there the Spirit is amongst them. The movement, as a company of societies and churches, has so far got along fairly well, without any generally recognised form of service, and it is not desired. It is not well that any uniform method of conducting these meetings should be pressed upon. Within the movement, they baptise, marry, and conduct funerals to their own members in a manner that seemeth good to them. Let that continue. But the movement is still very young and immature. New societies and churches are constantly being formed and are seeking the guidance of those with larger experience. This book of services is issued as a lead and assistance to those desiring the benefit by the larger knowledge of experience of others. The services may be modified by the users as they think and proper. In regard to the question of ritual law, the risk reader is referred to the preface of the service of Holy Communion. Generally considered, the complier thinks that it is quite easy to employ an express of ritual and would advise erring on the side of simplicity rather than elaboration. The great point is that all partaking in the services with ritual should clearly understand its meaning and its purpose, and enter fully with intention and concentration into all the acts performed. I do not wish to speak about what might be considered my qualifications for compiling this collection of services. They must carry their own commendation, or they will be of no value. They are believed to be founded upon the higher spiritualism, which embraces the best in occult and science, to include the essence of the great religions of the world, and they centralize in the Holy Communion service upon the person of Jesus as the leader of the human race. Richard Arthur Bush, Wimbledon, December 1931. Okay, thank you folks for allowing me to read that as an introduction to one of his books of service. And I just wanted to focus on a few things before I finish in the sort of history of the stained glass. This idea and concept of spiritualism not being directed from the spirit world as an absolute necessity, but being a human being insight, direction, compulsion to want to label, to want to formalize, to want to regularize as a congregation. But it was the spirit world itself that said this is not needed. There is no need for a label or religion, but the way you live your life. And I think what Mr. Bush was trying to do, they were saying, then let this church be a lighthouse. Let it show people a direction. Let them come here and find safety, hopefully some warmth today. Let this church be an umbrella for all those that seek the truth. Let this church be an umbrella for those that want to come together with like-minded purpose, love, light, truth. Mr. Bush, my grandfather, my father before me, all accepted the leadership of Jesus and the good that came with Christianity. But religion in itself is private. It must continue to be private, and it must be within us. We also recognize that regardless of how passionate we feel about our religion, our purpose, we must acknowledge that for us, we feel we hold the map that takes us from this moment in time to our utopia. But if you take a step back, perhaps if you were to look at that map from the spirit world, you would see a jigsaw in which the owner of the map has just one piece of the jigsaw of life, and recognize that difference of opinion, diversity, the things that make us different, together we can come and be inclusive when we allow those thoughts, those feelings, those beliefs, those opportunities. And here at this church next year, many of us have spoke about a return to things like philosophy conversations and chats where we can have that absolute psychological safety to say what we want to say, to tell people things around our opinions and our beliefs without fear of ridicule or embarrassment, or that we might have it wrong. That absolute psychological safety within this environment is something we want to continue to do. And I really like his introduction to the services. There's another bit of his story that I want to read, but I think I'm going to read it actually at the end because it talks about the Roman soldier. And it is one of the channeled messages from Mr. Bush. The Roman soldier is the guardian of this mission, is the guardian of this building. And at times, Mr. Bush had asked him questions about his understanding of spiritualism and philosophy. So I want to share that at the end. But just before we move on to the mediumship, I want to talk just a little bit more about the stained glass, because this building is not the building which went up in 1925. Sadly, the world broke into war for the second time, and we had a horrific nature of evil try to spread out across the universe, across the planet, certainly as we know it. But what you did have as well, allied forces that came together, not to defeat the enemy, but to defeat the evil behind Nazism. And we had lots of spiritual ambassadors talk about that. Now, within spiritualism in Wimbledon, they often spoke about the fact that spirits will keep the church space safe. And we would have loved that. But we also know from the spirit world that making accomplishments in the spirit world, instantaneous. They click their fingers and whatever they want, think, need can happen in the spirit world. But in order to influence this world, it takes a lot longer and it isn't as direct. Now, one of the presidents of the church at this time was a fire warden, a fire marshal, a bomb marshal, and he was out during an air raid when this church was attacked. And it was only as he came back to the church in the early hours of the morning, he could see that the church that was built here was largely destroyed by bomb damage. As he came into the church and people started to hear about the damage, they said, why didn't Spirit protect it? The Spirit were unable to, but they were able to inspire our leaders to get into Anderson shelters, to get to places, to listen to our humankind, to get out of the way. But where we are right now in this church, I believe this was at the back of the church. The original church was towards the front. And although the original stained glass had been damaged, the two candlesticks either side of me and what was then a Holy Bible in a stand had survived pretty much from all that damage, as well as some of the original furniture and records. Now, this stained glass window behind me was commissioned in the late 1970s. It was commissioned after the war. So the bomb damage, 1941, it was commissioned in 1953, but it was in 1970 that the then President James Blackman had passed on some knowledge. Now, even though we had the invention of things like the typewriter then, still many myths and legends and traditionals were oral. They were in the heart of the storyteller. So the first time that this was written was when past President James Blackman then spoke to my father about the church window. Now, this window itself was placed in the church in 1953, and it was donated by Mr. and Mrs. Whitney, and they were members of the church congregation. Now, the two crosses either side of the glass, these crosses were described as crosses that symbolized service to all in need, not about death or suffering, recognizing that the crucifix was perhaps a method in which Jesus, the leader, the teacher, had been executed, but these crosses were about service to those in need. The original cross in the church had a similar design, and it still hangs in the Vale Owen Sanctuary today. It survived the bombing. For those of us that were in the service, it's the wooden cross with the mirror and the glass in the middle. Now, around the stained glass is ivy, and the ivy signifies friendship, loyalty, and strong ties. The ivy has the strength to flourish and to cover empty places and to add beautiful as it climbs up and down. Between the ivy, you will see grapes. And these red grapes represent the divine relationship with the people on earth. And we also know that from St. John's Gospel in chapter 15, Jesus used this symbolism to illustrate that we are all linked together in one branch and we all bear fruits. You'll see other flowers around the stained glass too. And these flowers are a reminder of the difference in the garden, but together we celebrate life, colour, and differences in unity. The top left, winged lion, this symbol is a symbol and significance of St. Mark. This relates to Mark, quoting from the book of Isaiah. He writes, "I will send my messenger before you to prepare my way." The bottom left winged finger, the ox, is the symbol of St. Luke, and it tries to remind us of the sacrifices that we may need while we're on this journey towards our life goals and ambitions. The top right-winged man needs to dwell within humankind and raise above darkness of this incarnation, triumphantly face life's journey straight in the eye and earn and learn life's lessons. The bottom right, the winged eagle. This rising eagle rises to dwell deeply in the inner mysteries of God's Jesus. In the beginning was the Word, and within the Word of ours, the Word became flesh and encouraged us to shepherd in the messages of that God. The divine is within and around us, and we must share love with humankind. So the founders, especially Mr. Butch, gave so much to rebuild this church. We learnt about their own traditions, Mr. Bush's Christianity and his advancement in spiritualism. We know about the candlestick surviving the cross. In the middle panel of this stained glass is an image of Jesus, and it is Jesus practicing one of those spiritual gifts, the gift of healing, and it was Jairus' daughter. If you want to read more, you can read Mark 5-41, from death to life. You'll see a golden crown. Well, you may not see Kelly and Steve. Sorry if that was insensitive of me. I will tell you about the golden crown. It represents that we can all attain, for our own diligence and efforts, the world and humankind. I do hope that this gives you a little idea about some of the pioneers in Wimbledon and some of the history, why they wanted this stained glass to be up. So that's a little bit about the history of this church as we celebrate Founders Day, and a book of introduction there for Mr. Bush. And at the very end, if we've got time online, I'll share it online as well. Otherwise, certainly in the church, we will have that opportunity to do that. Now we're going to move on to some mediumship. And I do look forward to working with Ivan on this. I'm going to attempt to give some evidence of someone's life after this change we call death. I think initially we're going to be working online. I'm going to look for some evidence online and see who I'm drawn to. Could be drawn to someone in the church. And then Ivan will come on and give us the last few bits of the mediumship. In the church, looking around familiar faces, you know how this all works. If we come to you, don't feed us. I've only just started losing weight for the first time in my life, but don't feed us any information. Give us a nice loud yes and true. I'll get the wireless mic as well, so people in the church, if you can use the microphone so others in the church can hear you and those online can hear you too. Shelley was just saying it's beautiful. Therese Thatcher was talking about transformation, which is lovely. Okay, let me just take a quick swig of a drink and then we'll do some mediumship. Okay, So I believe I'll be working online. Julie Caswell, lovely stained glass, very interesting hearing to the middle of it. Thank you, Julie. Okay, so my first communicator, okay, Owen says, brilliant address, thank you, you're very welcome. Right, I am online, okay, so online, and my spiritualist keyboard warriors, get ready, because you've got a 10-second delay. So look for this evidence, and I'll be looking for them to try and give me a name of who it is I'm going to. I've got a woman communicating with me. This woman is a mother. She's also talking about being a grandmother and okay, and she was married. I think I'll be communicating with someone's child, a lady. A lady would recognize this woman as mum. Mum has had a cancerous type condition. She's taken me towards the upper body, yeah, here. I'm around the left lung and chest and breast area. I'm also around my heart. And she is telling me that heart failure was also written on her death certificate, but it was the cancer had consumed her. It had been a very aggressive cancer. She's talking about having a short battle with it. She felt that she never really got over that. She's given the letter J for Julie. J for Julie was the letter that she was just giving me here. She was also talking about February. February has been a significant anniversary. I'm possibly going to a lady that would understand V, like a vow. I don't know if there was a vow online that I'd be linking in with. I'm asking them to tell me who I am with online, but I'd be looking for someone that would be the daughter of this lady, the communicator, your mother that was married, dad also in the spirit world, but it's mum that's communicating. Mum's had the cancerous type condition, left hind side of the body, lungs, chest area, and this aggression. I feel like about 6 months from almost diagnosis and treatment to end of life. I will check. Anyone in the church understand this? I think I am being told I'm online. I'm online, and I feel that I'll be talking to someone like Val. V. I kept seeing this V for victory online. St. John. Okay, we just mentioned in that address about St. John. There was something there that was also taking me back to that reference of John. Come on. And the February makes sense. Facebook, daughter's on Facebook. Right, being told that the daughter is on, my daughter watching this on Facebook right now, giving that indication you understand that. Otherwise, I'm going to bring in my next communicator. Okay, sorry, love, I'm going to pass you to one side. Okay, not ready. She's not ready. Not replying. Okay, see if you can get back online. Right. Okay. Right. I want to talk to Julie Caswell, who I know is online as well. And I know I've got also Ivy May. Julie, I've got a man here claiming to be your father. Ivy, a man claiming to be your granddad. He is adopting a bit of a sort of sporty fighting stance, and he's raising his arms above his waist, and he's just clenching his fist, but he's sort of teasing. And just sort of like almost teasing out to reach an event. Ivy and okay, one sec. Rebecca was also saying, my mum is Jean, my birthday February, but not sure yet. She had a talk. Okay, Rebecca, you stay on standby. So I'm just going to deliver this quick message to Julie. And Auntie Val, my mum had cancer from Carol. Okay, so keep. I want someone to say yes to all that information I gave folks online. And Julie, as I link in with you, and I talk about this man that was dad, Ivy May, granddad, adopting this fighting stance. I know, as opposed to him telling me that he had boxed in his life, and I also know he was a healer. And I'm asking why he's showing that stance now, and he's talking about testing boundaries. Okay, testing limits of exploitation. That was what he was just saying, Julie and Ivy. And I know you're both watching online now. So Ivy, I know you're going through some significant changes in your life to an exciting new chapter. And what he's telling me is that this is linked to work. Okay, and Ivy, I think I'm with you at work as opposed to you, Julie. And Julie, I know that you're at work right now as opposed to him telling me. But with Ivy May, there's this sense of boundaries and your limit of exploitation, and there's an element of you diversifying and having to compartmentalize what you're doing in order to be more than one place at the same time. He's like, good, keep testing your boundaries, see the distance, and being able to step back as well. He's also talking about you adding some value in the sense of stepping forward, and like the punch coming in, you're adding that value in a situation that's involving conflict, Ivy May, at work, and then stepping back again. He's calling it like Okay, it's like the boxer coming in, jab, jab, step back, observe, see the impact that has made. But crucially, as I know he had healing hands, even though he's showing me as a boxer, the boxing's about speed, okay? The speed of your impact, Ivy May and Julie, you'd understand the importance of doing that, coming in, but stepping back. That's really important. He has given me, okay, thank you. Okay, interesting. He was just talking about conception in September. I'm asking what he was talking about because it's something to do with the history here. Okay, thank you. Right, you'd understand that. Okay, right, thank you. I think this is about new life and babies, because he's talking about 9 months and countdown. My birthday was in September, but he's talking about spirit, incarnation and conception being quite important. He's also telling me that he has got an animal up here, Julie, of yours, a cat. He's talking about this small little, all cats are small, otherwise you're in real trouble and you're probably on safari in Africa. What do you mean with a small cat? Right, okay. I've got this small little cat, ginger hair, okay? And this cat, he said it was an ugly looking cat, Julie. I don't think there's such thing as an ugly looking cat, but ugly looking cat always looked miserable and was quite aggressive and unless they were with you. And he's just saying, I've got the girl with me, okay? And they're okay. Something about their right paw, and he's talking about, I don't want damage, like the paw is not able to open up properly and put the paw down. He was just talking about that right paw. He was also just talking about July, and he was giving me around my granddad's birthday, actually, about the middle of July, around the 17th, Julie and Ivy, as being quite important and significant. And just keep on keeping on. Ivy, mate, really excited for you and this bringing of amazing things to happen. We're really excited going forward. I've been there with my hands out, okay, awaiting this new incarnation and this new sense of life. I'm doing everything I can for you, for your health and for your happiness. Julie, I imagine, Julie, I don't know for sure, I imagine you're at work right now, and he's just talking about your hands being really cold, and you can't, you're cutting something, and I know, as opposed to him telling me, he's showing me that you're involved in working with flowers, Julie, but I've got you cutting something and you can't do it. It's like you had your jumper down, almost like gloves over your hands, and you won't do it. Julie was just giving some confirmation about the other evidence I gave her, and no, the cat. Well, I'm glad it's your cat that he's with this aggressive cat. He's banding up their paw. Yeah, he's wearing around cold hands. He knows that you still stopped and you sent out some healing. He said, we felt that around, that energy, Julie. Okay, so Julie, Ivy, mate, that was a quick message for you. Thank you for the opportunity of sharing that. Okay, sending his love. One more information, right, 47. Something about the door he lived at, Julie, number 47. I'm just asking him for more evidence around you, and the blue door with the glass, the half moon, half crescent of glass. Yes, you're making a basket. Okay, thank you, Julie, for that confirmation as well. That's very much appreciated. Yeah, the blue door. Ivy May saying, yeah, really very, very wonderful. Thank you, Ivy May. You're very, very welcome. Okay, to all the Caswell family and the Caswell small family extended. He sends you his love and take mine. Just go back online then, Richard. I think it was 2 people that understood that. Val was the significant thing. I think Val's sister. So this woman that was communicating, mum. Okay, there we go. So Carol says, my mum had cancer. My auntie was Val. Okay, Carol, I want you to understand the other things. My mum is Jean, okay, which was the J. My birthday February, but not sure on the rest. Rebecca, if you're not sure, we don't do carrier bag mediumship. We don't do inherited jigsaws from the charity shop. I'm not going to make you make it fit. Mo May says possibly my mother, but not the treatment for cancer, heart condition on death certificate. Okay, I think I'm with Carol actually. Yeah, with Carol. I know Carol, right? So I'm with Carol. Carol, just in reference to Auntie Val, you understand the cancer of the heart stent. Carol, as she links in with you, she thought she was going to throttle you or strangle you, but she's not. She's putting her hands around your neck though, and under here, right by your jaw and your throat and your tongue. She was putting her thumbs there, and I feel she was giving you some healing. I know, okay, thank you. She says you've just got over a very sore throat, and she's calling it, some sort of viral infection of some sort. And she was just giving you some healing. She felt it was quite difficult for you to open your airway, because I'm opening my airway with my head. And I know that she's sending you this love, Carol. She's also giving me what sounds like the name of Stephen, or the place of Stephen, or Stevenage, because she was giving me this within my mind's eye. She was talking about that reference to that, and I want to go further south. Now, I don't know where you are in the world, Carol, but she was showing me South Wales, and I'm asking what that makes reference to, but I was certainly seeing a map of the UK, and I was going up and I was going over towards South Wales, and she was making reference to that. She was giving this name, Stephen, as being quite significant, and I do think there is this link to her with Wales that you'd understand, because I know I've got the River Severn, and she was talking about Stephen, but I've got this River Severn and I've got the bridge, and I feel like I've got a journey that has gone both ways, that being significance to her. She already mentioned the February, and she was just talking to me about the tree. Okay, I know it's this time of the year with Thanksgiving across the pond, and Christmas and Christmas trees going up. She's showing me what looks like a Christmas tree, and I've got looks like tinsel or beads, red and gold, going up this tree, and I've got this stubborn, let's call it ornament, Christmas ornament, at the bottom right-hand side of that tree, Carol, which she's talking about keeps being knocked down. And she's talking about an animal in the spirit world whose tail keeps wagging this off. And I feel like this little dog that she was just mentioning to me, Carol, that she's talking about the dog being around you and the pitter-patter of the feet and knocking over the ball. And this ball keep going back up. And once they realised they could do this, that they were doing it over and over again. Okay. Peter as well. Peter, she's done. Oh, pray to St. Peter. Right. She's also showing me what feels like in my hand some sort of rosary bead. Carol, you'd understand within the family, I've got this links to Christianity, Church of England, cancer. She was talking about, but I've also got this link with me praying to St. Peter or St. Paul. No, okay, no, it's not about that. It's not about the praying. It's about giving and robbing from St. Peter to Paul, giving from Peter and giving to Paul and moving it around. There was something about you having to move some money around. I think she was actually giving that analogy of Peter and Paul, but it was to do with money in an account, and you've had to rob Peter to pay Paul and then pay Paul with Peter. And she was just talking about that circle, Carol. Okay, thank you. Right. She sends you a love, Carol. That was your message from me. And folks in the church and online, I now have great pleasure in bringing Mr. Ivan Lee up to give us a demonstration of mediumship. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the unique, my mate, Mr. Ivan Lee.
Thank you. Beautiful. Morning, everyone. Morning. You all right? Yeah. For sure? I should have kept my coat on, it's freezing, isn't it? Anyway, right, okay, you all know what we're meant to be doing. But before I do start, as it's Founders Day, I'd just like to thank a few people in spirit and a few people here, because it's 20 years ago that I walked into this church. And to be able to do the work I do, it's very humbling, and it's a great privilege, especially to be involved with this church. I just want to thank everyone publicly, the first time ever, by the way, so thank you. Right, you ready? Wow, that's such a response there, isn't it? Are you ready? Nah, right, okay, I see. I've got a couple of connections coming in a minute. I'm not quite sure where I want to go. And, right, I've got two gentlemen. Right, I've got one, I don't know if it's a heart problem or I've got a lung condition, and I've got, it's like a son with him. June, right, your brother, was he Johnny? And Dad was John, yes. Right? Because it's John and Johnny. Yes. That makes sense. Not two Johns. He's Johnny. Do you understand that? Yes. Good. Right. Now, who had the heart problems though? Where's the Chester's? No. Did Dad have the lung condition? Cancer. Yeah. Thanks, mate. Because your dad is with your brother. That makes sense. One at a time. Your brother. I want to stick with him for the minute, because you must have heard from Dad before. Because your dad's quite a nice fella, quite normal. No frills or spills with him. Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah. And he's talked about, he's the one, thank you, mate. He's on the lung cancer condition, and that got aggressive quite quickly for him. Yes. Yeah, right. Now, Johnny's passing. Yeah. Still a mystery with it, or a question mark. Yes, because he's connecting in. And nice enough fella, okay, mate, I got it. When he was on the earth plane, not now, because he's fine. Because as he's connected in, he's given me the feelings of what he would have had when he was on the earth plane. Yeah. Yes? Right. I'm quite withdrawn. Yes. Does that make sense? Yes. As though I'm not less. you're being hard work, aren't you? I quite like him because he's playing me up in a nice way. Does that make sense? Because if he come through all bouncy and bright, you think, that's not my brother. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Even though he's fine now, right? And I know Mum's passed as well, but because your brother, thanks Johnny, is the more recent one that's passed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. There was, I don't know if it's mental issues or depression.
Yes.
With him, because it's like, I'm not quite right, and I was very withdrawn, and God, did he smoke.
Yeah.
I've got the real smell of stale tobacco.
Yeah.
And I've not had a fag for 2 years, and I really want one now.
Yeah, it was a heavy smoker.
Don't say that in America, by the way, everybody. Think about it. Okay. Because he's fine. It's like everything works. Because he's very strange, his passing, because he was indoors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I've got tablets as well, not drugs as in narcotics, but I can't say it, prescribed drugs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
As though he was, I don't know if there was not funny pills. I call them happy pills, like antidepressants type pills. Okay, so he's making much of that. And he's a beer drinker and all.
Yes, it was.
A few cans of beer flying around here. Okay, because it's like, but he wants to come, I'm okay. Does that make sense? Now, he's talking about, I don't know whether May birthday or anniversary is, but he's talking about something in May.
Mum's birthday.
That'd do. Did Mum have the stroke?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, and was there other health issues with her as well?
Yes, there was.
Yeah, because was Mum the quieter one out of the three of them?
Yes.
Yeah, because she's sort of, I've got the sort of family here. Does that make sense? Right, and that's Mum's birthday, May. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and no, Mary. I've got a Mary somewhere. Where does Mary connect? Might not be. Does anyone connect with a Mary? I like to say a Mary. Or has she passed? I'll be with you in a minute then. What's your name? Sorry? All right then. Okay. Right. Did Mum have different health issues before she passed? Right, and that was definitely Mary. Right, I got it. Right. It's all right. Sorry, June. I've got Mum. Oh, I hate it when this happens. Right. Okay. But your brother's he's fine. That's the main thing I want to get across. This is just strange. Oh. With his passing, because you talk about collapsing indoors.
Yeah.
Okay. And he said it's very quick.
Yeah.
I know there's no one knows because he was on his own. Does that make sense? All right, mate. I do like him. I wasn't on my own. Dad was with me. So Dad come and Mum. I can't leave Mum out, but come and got him. Does that make sense? Because even with the I don't like saying this, Johnny. The inquest. Yeah. It was inconclusive. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. And it's nothing untoward or anything. I don't know. It's a mixture of sort of because I can be honest with you, June, can't I? Yeah. Because he didn't really look after himself properly. No. Does that make sense? And it's almost like everything just sort of shut down. No, he had mental health. I know that. We did that bit, okay, but he's fine now. Does that make sense? Yeah. Hang on, love. Your mum's quite feisty, isn't she? She really getting, hurry up, get on with it. But I've got, he wanted to know he's fine, he's content, and there's none of this, almost schizophrenia. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yes, but he's not now. Do you understand that? And I like your dad. Your dad's quite upright, quite old school. All right, he's all right. Okay, mate, he's with us. Does that make sense, June? Yeah. So I live all love you, say God bless. Cheers. Thank right, you. Now, and also, which one you want? Okay. I forgot, what was the name? I've got to call you M. Right, M. Too early, it's Sunday morning. I don't do Sunday mornings. Okay. Right, your mum Mary jumping in it. Quite a feisty lady. Okay, I've got it, darling. And very impatient as well. Yes. Okay, because she's sort of going, hurry up, get on with it. Because I don't know if it's because of the time of year, but she talked about you feeling quite down and a bit, not depressed, but say that again, love. She's gonna have to slow down. I've got the blues. I've got a bit. Does that make sense? And it's always this time of year sort of gets me a bit down as well. Do you understand that? And with Mum's, did she have the breathing as well? Because my breathing's gone very. I've got fluid on the lungs with her. Does that make sense? And also, I don't know if I've got touch of dementia or a stroke because she keeps going here. Yeah, yes. And that does. She kept going here. Okay. Was it? I've got to. She might not know. Your mum went. It's on the right-hand side. Tell her. I don't know if you know that, but there you go. Okay. But slow down, Mary. And she must have problems with her mobility as well because she says, "I can get about now. I'm fine." She don't like the cold weather. No. Who does? But she really don't. Really does. That makes sense. but she's just sort of coming, especially this time of year, it's a hello. I don't know, I've got blood issues. Who had the diabetes as well? Right, because it's like, I know there's grandparents, because it's like his dad passed as well, by the way. He didn't have the heart problems, did he? No, I've got someone else. Okay, Robert. Bob don't connect with anyone, does it? Robert, Bob. Is that Dad? No. Dad? Right. I'm not sure now, but I'll get, all right, love. Your mum's very, ooh. You was talking to me first, fair enough. Okay, right. She's very sort of precise and right. Does that make sense? Okay. I can't, they keep jumping in, love. But she just wants to send her love, she's fine. It's more of an upliftment, sort of, no real message, but just like, cheer up. And I don't know, there must be an issue with work somewhere as well. Yeah, nothing major, as though it's quite, I don't know if it's quite a bit of stress or quite a bit of more work being piled on, as though it's getting on top of you a little bit.
I don't work, but my work I'm doing.
I don't mind if it's, when we say work, I didn't want 9 to 5 jobs, or things that are, I don't know if it's projects or things you're doing. Does that make sense? And it's almost like, I've got it, darling. It's almost like your mother's making reference to like, there's quite a frustration with it at the moment. As though you need, thank you, as though with the sort of projects. Projects, more than one? Yeah. Thank you, I will tell her. I don't know what it is, we'll all keep everyone guessing, don't worry.
I'm undecided on.
It's all right, don't worry. Okay, right, I've got it. As though it's like, because Mum's opinion, and I've got to stress it's her opinion, I've got it, oh, she's always right. She's just said, she knows I'm always right, don't worry. That makes sense. Because she's making reference to like, just pick one and go with it. So there's options. Do you understand that? I know we come at the end of the year, because you're going to the new year, and she keeps making reference, like, it's like new beginnings, new year, to do with these projects with you. Does that make sense, Mrs. M? Or Ms. M, whatever, okay? Right, and also, I don't know if it's you that's not sleeping well, but I keep getting, it's about 4:30, 4:45. Keep waking up. That makes sense. And you ain't got 6 pillows, have you?
No.
Hang on a minute. You got a load of pillows on your bed? About 6 of them. Come on, you only left it about an hour and a half ago. No, I've got some with a load of cushions or scatter cushions, all that stuff. That's not you, is it, the scatter cushions? No, right. It's someone else coming in. I've got 2, 3, 4 connections. I hope I've got time. But Mum sends her love, she's fine. That's Mary, Mum. And I know there's different health issues with her, but thank you, I'll tell her, when the passing actually happened, she said she went quite quickly. Yes. Does that make sense? Even though the body was giving out anyway. Does that make sense? And it's the circulation, the blood circulation's not good. And I can't get about. And it was the aneurysm that finally took me over. Does that make sense? And I thought he was going. She's also made reference to a ring. Have you got one of her rings? Yes. Yeah, because the stone, no. Is there a wedding band as well? Or the stoned ring? Yeah, that you've got indoors in the bedroom on the right-hand side. I've gone left, actually. But I know she said right and I've gone left. I'm just a man, aren't I? Okay. But it's like she's making reference to that with you. Does that make sense? Good. Mum sends her love, she's fine. The cushions is nothing to do with one. I don't know which Robert I want. Okay, right. Now, who's the one who had the heart problems? That was Robert, Bob. Right, okay. Because it
wasn't the main thing.
Your Robert was Dad, wasn't he? Did Dad pass quite quickly when he passed? Because I think I've got 2 Bobs here. 2 Bob, right. Oh well, but I don't think yours is. Did he have cancer, your dad? Right, okay, right. You're Robert, you're Bob. They're Bobs, aren't they? Yes? Right. Yours is Dad, though. Yours isn't Dad.
No, I'm husband.
Shut up a minute. I do this. Oh, I do. Was your Bob quite a funny bloke, or sarcastic? Dry sarcastic.
Sorry?
Your dad. That's your dad, yeah. Because I've got 2 different. I don't mind doing 2 at once because I've got 2 Bob. They think it's funny. Husband, Dad. That makes sense? Right. With your dad, it was a cancer condition, and he's talking about got aggressive quite quickly. Does that make sense? And he's just making, hello, he's laughing at what we're doing. He thinks all this is quite funny. But being in church on a Sunday morning is not funny. It's quite normal, really. But you wouldn't have caught him here. Does that make sense? Yeah, because he just wanted to pop in. Thank you. Get to your husband in a minute. He's not loud as her dad, by the way, because her dad's quite a not gobby. He's what I call a geezer. Do you know what I mean? He comes in, all right, how you doing? Does that make sense? right? Because he wants to come in. I don't know if you hear from Dad often, because he said, yeah, I want to do it. Thanks, Bob. I want to do it on a Sunday morning for a change with your dad. Does that make sense? But no, it's all right. Don't need the mic. We're all right. She's saying yes to everything, everyone in video land or wherever you are. Okay, online. What's it called? What's the right term? Go for your phone.
Online. I'm doing it. Boy,
Oh, yeah. Oh, cheers, mate. Sorry.
Online. Yeah, there's someone.
This is my PR agent, Ashley, over here. Thank you very much.
Pink Angel says Robert was not related to her, but her ex-boyfriend, and he had the heart problem.
No. I'm here. It's the two Bobs. Okay. Husband. Did your husband have a ring as well? It's a signet ring. That ain't your dad, is it? No. I've got another one here. Yeah. Hang on a minute. I've got 3 Bobs. Oh, I like this. Okay. If we get another 7, that'd be 10 Bob, wouldn't it? Put that in a meter, get the heating on. Right, it's all right, I'm just waiting for everyone to calm down for a minute. Okay, right. Dad just wanted to put, it's Dad with you, okay, because he's, okay, I got it, my friend, one at a time. Get in a queue. He talked about you would have had a cancer condition, and it must have got aggressive, or when it really took hold, it went downhill quite quick. Yeah, because he just wanted to come in. I don't know what pet is, but he wants to say hello. Does that make sense? Right, now, your husband, Bob, was there different health issues with him?
Was it?
Wake up.
Oh, yeah, sorry, was it?
With your husband, Bob,
Yeah.
was there different health issues with him?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's sort of shut down, he's making me feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
That,
exactly.
and it was, I mean, obviously the heart stops when you pass.
Yeah.
You know, don't carry on. Well, it might do. Well, it does, but not in the airplane. But
It was affected by the initial.
I do like him. He's not a pushy bloke, your Bob.
Gentleman.
Yeah, very nice, easy, soft talking.
Quite funny.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know. He's got a nice, thank you, my friend. He's got quite a nice, sharp sense of humour. Yeah. Okay, because he wanted to put, I don't know if there's a birthday coming up. Because he's talking about a birthday coming up, not Jesus's.
Birthday just gone.
I don't, is that December though?
No, November.
No, he's talking about something
Oh, there is
December.
a birthday coming
December,
up in
yeah,
December.
December.
Yeah, that's my mum.
Oh, hard work here, isn't it? It's her mum's birthday. No, her mum's passed.
Yeah.
Who had the dementia?
No.
No. We've got to start another lady coming here. Okay. In a minute. Right. You know, it's just the 2 Bob. Your dad's pulled back, pulled back, and it's your husband wanting to come. Right, with your husband's, he's putting a light on as well, a light on. I don't know what the light's got to do with anything.
The light's to do with my mum.
That'd do, as though I've got to have the light on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, but I've got, thank you. Bob's telling me.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
I mean, Mum's probably okay. Yes, Mum is okay.
The light could be to do with me as well. So
Yeah,
Mum or
but
me.
as long as it makes sense to you, because it's
Yeah.
like Bob's, he's quite a nice man, and he doesn't like correcting people, because he's like, oh, you get on with it, I'm okay. Does that make sense? Very soft talk, and you're right, he's a gentleman, and he is talking about with his passing, as though I'd had enough in the end. It's sort of,
Yeah.
but it was all, I don't know, he keeps going around the heart area as well.
Yeah, the chest was the bad thing. But
Yeah,
eventually
because he's
the
giving me the
chest-
fluid here and
Yeah.
the heart. And I don't know, it's angina or emphysema. It got that sort of thing
Yeah.
going on. Does that make? Do you understand
Exactly right.
that? Yeah, because he said I'm okay. Tell her hello. There's definitely something, and then watch as well. Has he got a watch?
We couldn't find it.
Good, because we're going to find it now.
Yeah.
Right? Do you live local? 'Cause we pop round. Was it a wristwatch I want?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Did it have like a black strap on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like the one I've got on.
Yeah.
Similar. Does that make
Or
sense?
leather.
I don't know if it's a Seconda or I don't know. It ain't a Rolex, love, so we ain't doing a Fools and Horses where you got fortunes in there. Okay, but it's Christmas special as well. Boom, boom. There you go. Tough today, aren't they? Very tough. Okay. Okay. Right now, because he's making reference. You haven't moved since he's passed, have you?
Yes.
Yeah. Because is there a load of stuff, not storage, but loads of stuff boxed up from where you used to live that you've put away somewhere? It keeps showing me a little box. It's like as though there's a few little bits and bobs in there.
Oh, I've got lots of little boxes. Yeah, I know what he's talking about.
Good,
yeah.
because I ain't got a clue.
Yeah.
Because he just made it's there. It's all little boxes they are, not big ones, little
Yeah,
boxes.
yeah.
And he says,
Oh, my
if you look at it properly, it'll be in there. It's not lost. They keep saying it'll turn up, which is a weird thing to say, because it's been. Thank you, I'll tell her. Because your Bob, thank you, my friend. is making reference like that's what she's been missing for quite a while. Does that make sense? Yeah, it'd be weird if it turned up this Christmas, wouldn't it? What do we get? £1,000 finder's fee. Brilliant. Okay, but you just want to pop. Okay, I've got to send it up. He's fine. I don't know where the hospital. Right, love. Okay, right. Your Bob sends his love is fine. I've got a couple here I've got to get through. Phil, yeah. Your mum had dementia, didn't she? Yeah. Right. And was she quite a busy lady before the dementia sort of kicked in? Does that make sense? Yeah. Always sort of coming in, being quite running around, fussing over everyone else. Does that make sense? Yes. It's what you call your mum. Very mumsy. Very nice lady. Always right. Okay. I mean,
yep, that's correct.
Bloody hell. Right. Okay. Because she's come in and it's like, I mean, you don't die of dementia, but she had it for a while and she wants, and you was keeping an eye on her, looking after mum. Does that make sense, Philip?
Yes.
She called you Philip, by the way. But it's Phil. It's Philip, though.
Only ever Philip.
Yeah, she's Philip. Okay. Everyone called him Phil, you see, but she's calling him Philip. Oh, forget it. Okay. Anyway, right now, she's quite a polite lady as well.
She is.
Very polite, very laid. Like, I'm not going to say elegant, but she's sort of wafting quite nicely. Does that make sense? Okay. I mean, she had her moments, you know, as mums do. But what she would, I mean, I know you know they're okay. You don't need anyone telling you or giving you any evidence about anything, people that are apart, etc. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
But she's making reference to it's like just do with you at the moment. I don't know. I know there's been a few health ups and downs with you over the past few years.
That's right.
Do you understand that? But she keeps talking about, I don't know if there's been a recent sort of, I know it's been cancer, but not now. Does that make sense? Because she said that's all cleared up.
Yeah.
Do you understand that? But there's been a little bit of worry around you. You don't look like a worrier, but you are, as though with your health at the moment.
Yes.
Do you understand that? And mum's, I mean, you know, we don't do fortune telling. I got stressed out, but mum's coming in. I like her. All right, then I'll tell him. Oh, thank you. Because where you was looking after mum is now looking after you.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Good luck, Philip. Because she said, can you, I mean, generally you do as you're told when it comes to your health. Does that make sense?
Yes,
You're not flippant with it. You're quite on top of it. Do you understand that? But she said, recently you've had a bit of a worry about, oh, I don't feel quite right. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. I don't know if you've been checked out. Is there an appointment coming up?
Yes.
Yeah, she said, there's an appointment coming up. She said, just go with it. We're not, you know, we're not, I do, she's quite forceful, isn't she?
Yes.
Wow, I feel like I've got my arm up my back here and I'm being manhandled. You're Nick's son. Anyway, right, reference to Sweeney, by the way, for everybody, never mind. Okay, because she's making reference, it's just you do need, I don't know if it's like a checkup or what's the word I'm looking for? What's it when you go to hospital? Examination, that's the word. Okay, thank you. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so that needs looking into. Do you understand that? She says, and Anne doesn't connect with you, does it?
Anne?
Yeah. Or Annie?
A friend living.
No. Might be Joanne, actually. No, Joan. It's, I don't know. Does anyone connect with a Joan? Joan? Hang on a minute. Right. Sorry, Mary. Right. You're. All right. Go away. Sorry. It's your mum, Mem's come in and get them. Right. Thank you, darling. She said, you'll be okay, but you do follow up on things. You do keep an eye on it. But she wanted to sort of, thank you, darling, ease you with your worries that you've had. I don't know, it's past 2-3 weeks. You've been a bit sort of concerned about this. Does that make sense? And she wanted to ease you with the worries, Philip. Okay, so I'll leave her love with you. So that's all right. That's all she wanted to let you know. Does that make sense? Good. Right, now. Right, Joan. I've got a Joan. Is that mum, though? Let me get more information. I'm not quite. It's cancer. Who had the cancer condition? And where does Michael connect? Living? Right. I might be with you. You ain't got a Michael, have you? Good. Right. Sherry. Okay. Right. Joan, mum's sister.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Mum's passed, hasn't she? Right. Is there a Elizabeth or Betty as well that connects with you?
Yes.
Who's the Betty? Yeah, Elizabeth. Right, okay, because it's everyone but mum. Right, I've got it. Maureen doesn't connect as well, does it?
It's Joan's daughter.
Right, okay, I'm just making sure I'm on the right track here, because I know it's an aunt. Did you know Joan?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just checking. I don't know. Okay. Because she wants to come in and to say hello. Right now, I know you've got your fella there. You right, son? How you doing? Do have a shave, couldn't he? Not leave it there.
Oh, no.
She keeps talking about possible moves. I don't know if there's been talk of a move of house coming up, or to do with your son's Michael.
Yes,
He's not been talking about moving, has he?
he has.
Ah, right, because I wonder what this was Joan. That makes I don't know if Michael was her favourite nephew. Doesn't matter, but she's picking on him. Does that make
Right,
sense?
right.
In a good way, positive way. Because it's also like, and has Michael's dad passed?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Hang on a minute, Joan, because I've got a bloke just jumped in, said I'm his dad. Okay, and was he the drinker? Because I feel like he's on the, I can't swear, it's Sunday morning. I've had a drink. That makes sense. Okay, right, now. Right, but this is Joan, okay? Because Joan wants to connect in as though there, I don't know if there's frustrations with the Michael, with his move going on, but she keeps like, it'll be all right. And I keep going down towards the coast as well. Where's it? Is that with Michael? That'll do. Peace haven. Peace, man. Okay, I got it. David. Who's David? Or Dan? Dave. Hang on a minute. No, it's Derek. Dennis, Derek.
We have a Dennis in the family.
Right, okay. Is that on Joan's side?
No.
She's talking about a D name. I might have it slightly mixed up. I'm sticking with Joan in a minute. Your Michael's your boy, isn't it?
Yes.
And is there a Mick that's passed?
Yes, it's his dad.
That's confusing. Right, okay, because his dad, Mick, does that makes he's a,
Yeah.
he was a drinker.
Yeah.
That makes sense? Right, now. Okay, but is Joan want to come in? Because I know you with. Right, you're a pain in the arse. He's a pain.
Who?
Mick. Not Joan. I like Joan. She's okay. She's quite a lady. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Proper London mob, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Jelly Hills, pie and mash, up and down the Turkey stairs all night long. I don't know what that means, but
Right.
it's like, because I've got them coming in, sort of, you've been all right recently. Bit of old trouble. I don't know if it's your hips or your legs, as though something's playing up round here with you.
You're back.
Yeah, that's all attached. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you ain't been. Thank you, Joan. She's talking about an appointment with the osteopaths or whatever you want to call them. Have a bit of manipulation done on it. Would that? She said you don't bother with that, do you?
No.
No, because she said it. Maybe you should. It might help. Get them to do a course on Reiki. No, on what's it called? Back, done. That's it. What he's just said.
Chiropractor.
Right.
Either that or British Gas Engineering.
Or yeah, whatever. Okay. But I think the boiler's all right.
Careful.
Stop it. That's the London mob, by the way, not me. Okay. And Mick's very rude as well, by the way. Okay. I mean, not horrible rude, funny
No.
rude. That makes,
Yeah.
Do you understand that? Yeah. Because, but it's Joan, thank you, which is your aunt. Thank you,
Yes.
darling. Who just wants to come forward, just to make it, and it's been really giving you a lot of jip recently,
Yeah.
more so than normal. That makes, I mean, it's always, thank you, Joan. It's always been there, but it's giving you more trouble lately than normal. Does that make sense? And she wants to, it's like, but you don't do much about it, do you?
Recently been to the hospital.
Yeah, right, because you need a bit of, what's the word? Yeah, it's like,
Yes, manipulation.
that's the word, yeah. As though there's a few, I mean, I don't understand the body much. It's something to do with the spine, though, isn't it?
Yes.
As though some of the discs are slightly out. As though they're not missing, they're just
No.
out. It just needs sort of,
The surgeon said it's a knackered back.
a what?
Knackered back.
Basically, yeah, I've got one of them. Horrible, isn't it? But I will tell her. I like Joan because you know, mate, call me mate. You tell her. Because it's like, I see her, what's it, every 6 months. This sounds bad, doesn't it? Osteopath.
Yes.
Every 6, and it works a treat.
Right.
And it wouldn't hurt. She said it wouldn't hurt. I mean, surgery's okay, but
They want to give me an injection.
yeah. Oh, really? Oh, never mind. Oh, it won't hurt at all. Okay. But Joan, you're not helping Mick. Mick ain't helping, by the way.
No, it probably
No.
isn't.
But it's like Joan just want to pop it, sends her lumps, fine. It's mainly about your back. That makes sense. Okay. But it's, I mean, you have the injection, it'll help, but it is. I understand that, Joan. I'm sure she knows as well. Once there's a knackered back, there's a knackered back.
Yeah.
It never, it's one of the parts of the body that never gets right.
Yeah.
but it can be eased.
Yes.
Do you understand that? But Joan wants to send love. Mick's helping Michael out because your son's Michael
Yes.
and his dad's Mick.
Yes.
Confusing, isn't it? Right. And he does love a drink. I'm not saying he was an alcoholic. He was. Okay. But and with his passing, Mick's passing, was it the drink that sort of
It's done his kidneys in.
yeah, because it's almost like his lifestyle led to an early
Yeah.
I don't like saying that. It's the way he said it, early demise.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
He said he'd never make old folk.
Yeah, well he didn't.
No.
He's here. Okay, I quite like cheeky bloke. Nice. I know you weren't together though. Did you separate?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like it was on and off. It's,
Yeah.
I can't say that, mate. He went, it's a bit straight. We won't go into it, okay? But it's like, it's a bit up and down, on and off. Does that make sense? But he does send his love, he's fine. And he didn't make our bones. I like him. He just went, I had no regrets the way I lived my life. I enjoyed myself. Does that make sense? But he wants to send his love, he's fine. And he's kicked, thank you. It's like, has the boy moved? Michael, has he moved yet?
Not yet.
Yeah, because it's the... Thank you. He says it's quite a positive move for his son, and it's like a proper move. Does that make sense? And is he? Thank you. Is he the one down Peacehaven? Yeah. Is that by the sea? I don't know. Okay, that'll do. Okay, because he's just making reference to it with Michael.
2 steps and he'd be in it.
2 steps and he'll be in it. I've lived my life like that, love. But he wants to send his love. He's fine. Right. Is that right with you? Good, sorted. I've got one more to go. I don't know where you want to go. One more? No? Yes? No? I ain't got anyone.
I just know everyone's so cold.
Yeah, Frank. I've got to sort Frank out very quickly. I've got Frank to just connect. I don't know where I'll go. Right, Frank. Is that Dad? Right. Frank's father-in-law. I want one Frank now. I don't know what Frank I got. Anyone else got a Frank? I want advances on Frank. More Franks. Frank going once, Frank going twice. Right. Did Dad have? Did he have a heart problem or a chest issue, Shirley? Right. Is there other help? And does William connect anywhere with me Franks? Bill? What? It's always hard work going to Shirley. Yeah, okay, right. Hang on, I'll just make sure I've got the right connection. He did, because I'm just finishing, and he just come, he went, I'm Frank, I want to go over here, okay? Did you get on with Dad all right? Yeah, and I'm going back quite a few years with him. Does that make sense with his passing? And was he quite an upright, easy, not an easygoing man, but he was your dad, and he was proper old school. That makes sense. And who was the one who had the stroke or the aneurysm that passed as well? Yeah, you do. Right, cancer it is as well. Who had the cancer condition?
I wouldn't know which one out there.
All right, well, I'll leave it. I'm sticking with Frank, right? Because he's making reference with you, Shirley. Right, I know a lot of health stuff going on. I know it's cold. You got is that a blanket you got there?
Well, Daphne's just lent me a scarf.
That's all right. No, okay. Never ask Shirley anything either, because you'll be here for half an hour. Right, because I like your dad. He's like, no, just tell her hello, we're okay, because you've been a bit miserable, a bit down lately. Does that make sense? And he said you've been a bit absent-minded, so you need to sort of start focusing on things and getting a bit more, I don't know what the word is, but with it. You're okay, you're fine. Does that make sense? But it's just like wear and tear. And you've been feeling it a lot more recently.
Yes,
do you understand
yes,
that? And you do feel like, thanks, Frank, you do feel like, and he's not saying that you're wrong, as oh, God, everyone's getting on my back. What is wrong with everybody worrying about me all the bloody time? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Well, they are, but it's a good thing. It comes from a good place. Do you understand that? But your dad, Frank, very short, sharp, and simple. You're all right, love, no problem. And have you been talking about, you're on medication, aren't you? Yeah, because he's given me an array of pills and drinks, and not drinks, what they call array of medication.
Yes,
So there's like bump, bump, bump. That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, because I do like your dad. He's got quite a nice, gentle humour as well. He just went, she should be rattling when she walks.
I think I do.
No, you don't. Okay, but it's like, and have they been talking about changing a prescription or moving one?
I've just had a new one.
Yeah, because he's talking about a new one. Does that make sense?
And
Fine.
yes.
I mean, your dad's not a doctor. Right, I got it. But he says, no, you've got to do as you're told. You're okay, but you've been a bit, not concerned, but just really fed up.
Because I can't get out and about as much as I'd like to.
All right, no, but I can't help you, love. Get a scooter. Okay. No, you said, no, don't say, I like your dad. You went, no, don't say that because someone must have suggested it. And you think, I'm not having one of them. That makes sense.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah.
I'm not
Don't,
having
no.
it.
Your dad went, don't say that. But dad just wanted to give you a bit of upliftment, a bit of support. Does that make sense? I mean, the war, I know it is freezing. It does, in this weather, it does make your body sort of go a bit, you know what I mean? It's like, it is easier to get out and about during the springer months, during the summer months, etc., when the weather's nicer. Do you understand that?
Yes.
But dad does send his love. He's fine. Done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Done. Cleared. Thank you very much,
very
everybody.
much.
Good morning. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ivan Lee. Thank you, folks. I just want to read something from one of Mr. Richard Arthur Bush's books, just to finish, and it was Jesus at Work. And I really liked this. I'm not going to read all of this chapter, but for those at the church, there are books that you can read in our sanctuary library when you're here. So this bit here, it is a talk about woman and the fall of man. Sounds like a lecture I had from my wife once after playing rugby. God as a universal mother, the destiny of the race in the hands of the woman, the serpent, man not evolved from animal. What is needed is more love. Now, that's quite a long title, but you again imagine the scene, Mr. Bush on his Ouija board channeling messages from the Roman soldier. And in 1926, in June, Mr. Bush wanted to ask the Roman soldier. He was sort of coming to terms with his own Christianity and teachings he had had from the gospel, and he wanted to understand because this didn't feel always compatible with the inclusive nature of spiritualism. And the Roman soldier said, I've come to you to speak on the subject of your faults and the Genesis story and the creation of woman. We are taught that mankind is the highest expression of the universal mind and purpose. This primordial mind is like unto man who embodies in his being all the nature of his source. But as the dust is unto the mountains, so man, by comparison, is unto God, his father. The fatherhood of God includes the motherhood of God in one person. This duality expresses itself in many ways by seeming separation. Without this seeming separation, there could be no realization of the inherent and latent qualities. Woman is the soul of the original humanity, and male, the creative impulse. It is a law that separation by analogy, decomposition, or dying must precede a new birth or creation of any sort. To create man as a separate unit or God centers, the soul and the mind must be drawn apart, so that by the reunion, another center of this God expression may be formed. At some period of man's career, he was male and female in one, even as God is mother and father in one. While the separation took place, or upon to what plane we do not know, but what we do not think it was at a very remote stage in comparison with eternity, and possibly in the highest sphere of this earth's vortex. This Genesis story is meant to contain that truth or belief. Now, as the reunion of male and female in one person, this is affected by the observation of one into another in mind and spirit of two entities who are in absolute affinity. This is indeed a mystery, but when you reflect upon the simpler forms of combination in chemistry, or different atoms unifying and uniting to form another distinct substance, then by reasoning and by imagination, surely you can see the possibility of two human atoms combining to form one substance or body. As at the denser covering of the spirit becomes more and more refined, the barrier to a bodily union is broken down. You speak of either interplating or all substance. Why not spirit entities penetrating each the other? The moral application is that only by complete self-surrender, each to other, can the kingdom of God rule in any individual or in the community of individuals. The love of many for the whole should be the love to one another. Now, obviously, that's just the start of that chapter. But I think you would agree, a really nice sort of way of the Roman soldier trying to interpret what Mr. Bush had understood about sort of Genesis. And this morning when we were meditating, I believe that someone claiming to be the Roman soldier came to me in that meditative state. And he presented me with this spear. And he said, this spear is so that you may direct and point people towards the truth, and understand that as we have worked from spirits with mediums and we have worked as channels, we are still using them as a palette. And therefore, their palette of information and intelligence is somewhat limiting in the way that they can understand our information. So many people that were published back in those days were men. Even when we write about law in 2022, there is a masculine element to the law, he as opposed to they. But when you look at the message and you look at the truth, I think what you're saying is that there is an absolute inclusive nature, that we are all born as different reflections of the many manifestations of God, the energy, supreme being, mighty architect. However we know and understand them, recognize that we all feel that presence of universal love and God in different ways, shapes or forms. None of it wrong, none of it right. All of it parts of that story. So thinking about the language, thinking about the thing we use now to describe God or Mother, Father, God, however it works for you, continue to do it. If something doesn't feel right, challenge the status quo. We spoke about psychological safety at the beginning of this meeting. I absolutely encourage and implore you to continue to do that. What feels right for you, then you march to the beat of that drum. Even if that beat of the drum is your own drum, you march towards that truth. And like the Roman soldier said to me this morning, point people in the direction of your truths. Tell them why these truths have become a truth to you. Share your knowledge and allow them with their own free will and accord to understand and interpret that information. Folks, it's been really good to have you at the church today and joining us online. In terms of our traditional divine service, we're now taking a short break until the new year. Sunday, the 8th of January, is our first meeting back in here, divine service with mediumship, and that we'll be back online. Next Sunday, for those people that live local, or even if you don't live local but you can get here, come and join us for more of a Christmas sort of festive meeting. There'll be some addresses, some music, some poems and a few bits and pieces, but no mediumship or divine service till the 8th of January. I want to thank Richard and Spiritual Psychics TV for the opportunity to produce the show today, to share it all with you wonderful people online. I want to thank everyone and the congregation that's ventured out in the freezing temperatures today. For Ivan, getting out of bed on a Sunday morning without the promise of Chelsea to watch, still made it here and shared his gifts of mediumship. Thank you for those that have donated online and in the plate today. I now invite Ivan to close our meeting in prayer.
Thank you, Ashley. Okay, I'd like to bow your heads, please. Divine Spirit, dear Lord, we thank you for this morning, and we ask that you surround us all with the bright white light of love and divine protection as we go for our day-to-day lives, and know that life is eternal, and that our loved ones continue to guide us and comfort us through our ups and our downs, knowing that life is eternal, sending out love to friends seen and unseen. Amen.
Thanks again, folks. Online, we will now be ending the live stream. And for those in the church, the kettles have been boiled. Look forward to sharing a cup of tea and coffee with you. Good afternoon, and God bless you all. Many thanks. Bye.